So yeah, just about. Hey guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for my Norwich City 1, Chelsea 2 Premier League review. Another win for Chelsea, another 2-1 win for Chelsea away from home. This game though was very different to the game we played on Saturday against Southampton. In the game against Southampton, we came out a little bit lethargic in the first half and then got better as the game went on in late stages of the second half. But in this game, it was completely different. We played really well, scored 2 goals in the first half, but in the second half, it was the role reversal basically. We came out. I looked at the team selection and I was really surprised and actually really interested and excited to see both Kenedy and Bertrand Traore get starts. I thought Kenedy, as I spoke about my Saturday review, I thought he played really, really well against Southampton. I thought when he came on, he made an impact. And as well, Traore, who when he has come on, scored goals. So to see him play, you could have even put it down to a 4-4-2. And at times, even though he was playing on the right, he definitely could shift in central. And he got a good hour under his belt. And I thought that he did look bright. And I think he's going to continue to be a good player for Chelsea. And especially Kenedy, who did get taken off later on in the game, surprisingly, after Norwich got a goal back. But going into the game, yeah, I thought it wasn't going to be just a stroll in the park. I thought, because Norwich been on a bad run of form. Yes, I think going into this game they'd lost 7 out of their last 8 games, or lost 7 in a row, I think, or something along those lines. A really bad run, but I still thought Norwich at home, we couldn't exactly walk in there and think it's going to be a stroll in the park. They're fighting for their lives. They still have some decent players within them. I was quite happy to see that Stephen Naismith was nowhere near their score, because he always scores against Chelsea. But we came in, and in 39 seconds, I think it was, Kenedy drifted in, cut inside, and then smacked it in the bottom corner. The perfect start. Any start you could have asked for, that was it right there. And to see Kenedy, especially himself, the most just direct, how direct he is, I think is so impressive. And the end product, which I was talking about, that he needs to develop as he's still a young player, was there. Also as well, it was the fastest Premier League goal of this season. Apparently someone else on Twitter was telling me as well, it's the fastest for quite a while, so I guess that's something impressive. But definitely got us off on the right foot, kept that positive momentum going. But Norwich did come into it. They never really had any clear-cut chances. Jerome looked like the most likely to cause any danger, any threat, but I think Norwich's end product really wasn't there for the majority of the first half. Then there was a bit of kind of heated, there was a lot of anger towards the ref, and I think some of it from the Norwich fans were justified, some of it wasn't. There was talks about a back pass. Now at first viewing, basically Cahill was kind of stuck in the corner and Jerome was kind of pressing him. Then he threaded the pass through back to Courtois, and at first I thought, yeah, it's a back pass. I can't believe he hasn't given that. But then on second viewing, you can clearly see that Jerome gets a touch to it. Now, someone may in the comments tell me that the rules tell that it doesn't matter if a touch from an opposition player has come in. But my assumption was to be a back pass, it has to be like a clean kind of pass back to the goalkeeper. And I know it was intended for Courtois, but I don't know if the deflection changes that. But then the real boiling point of the match was just before half time. Thought we were getting into it, maybe to try and get a goal before half time. And Traore had a brilliant ball thread through to him, which unfortunately didn't get a good enough touch on to make the best of the chance. But then Costa, from a throw-in actually, Traore getting the assist through to Costa, he sticks it away, and then on the replays, I actually thought when I first saw it, he's offside, and then seeing the replays, he's clearly offside. So Norwich fans definitely had a right to be angry at the referee, but 2-0 up, cruise control at this point. And yeah, it was looking like another brilliant win. And I was also looking because Pato was rumoured to be coming on later. As I talk about cruise control, that's exactly what the Chelsea players did in that second half. They strolled out and just seemed to lethargically walk around the pitch. It was so frustrating for almost 45 minutes, or just over that, probably about 50 minutes because of course the added time. We just strolled through that second half, and we were lucky that Norwich are in poor form and don't have that end quality, because other teams would have punished us. I don't know if it was something to do with the PSG game coming up. Players seem to be jumping out of tackles, just abandoning basically defensive duty a lot of the time, just letting Norwich basically stroll around the pitch. They had a few chances. Jerome had a really good chance to make it 2-1, but then eventually Redmond, with a good finish, makes it 2-1. And then it was stressful, and it didn't need to be, because our lethargic players, it was just so frustrating. The amount of times we were getting the ball away, the lazy touches. One player I want to really criticise is, I think a player who's been criticised a lot this season and hasn't really improved his performances, but Eden Hazard. For me, done barely anything tonight. The one thing I can think he done was thread through Traore, and Traore the heavy touch. Other than that, Hazard was absolute. Do you know what I mean? There was a point where I forgot he was on the pitch. It was only because the camera kind of panned around and I got to see it was number 10 that I realised it was Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard did absolutely nothing today, and it really does disappoint me. For a player who's trying and has, I've talked about this before, who apparently wants to move away from Chelsea, wants to move, in his eyes, to a better opportunity at a club at a better place, you know, whether that's Real Madrid, whether that's PSG, you really aren't putting yourself up in the best kind of position. You aren't being a good advert for yourself, consistently just doing nothing. And I'd rather, it's a shame Pedro, see the difference between Hazard and Pedro is, and what I've seen on the basis of this season, is Pedro, even when he has a bad game, can still put in that effort. You know, he still will put in a work rate. That's just the nature of who he is. And as well, now we're seeing Pedro with his last few games has put in the end product to him. He's scoring goals, he's looking more danger when we go forward. It's a bit of a shame that he got injured on Saturday so early and has had to come out of this game. I hope he is ready for the game against PSG next week. But Hazard, for me, so depressing, so frustrating as well, when the fans are backing you as well. It's not like we've turned our back on you, Eden. We still want to support you. We're still, the way fans were still chanting your name tonight. And it's just so frustrating when you see players like Costa as well, Fabregas, and even to like Ivanovic as well. Players in the first half of the season who were so poor, who have now turned round their season and has won back the fans, you know. And as I say, it's not like we've lost Eden Hazard, you know what I mean? We haven't turned our back because we remember what he did. We know what Hazard's capable of, but every game he does nothing. It just lessens my belief that he's going to do anything, and it's really depressing because there are positions where he gets himself into, even now, where I think the Eden Hazard of last season would have stuck that away. The Eden Hazard of last season would have taken that defender on. But this season, I seriously don't know what's happened to him. I don't know if it's a lack of mentality. I'm kind of going on a rant here, but you can understand what I'm saying, guys. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. But that is it, guys. 3 wins in a row, definitely keeping up that momentum. And I think we're 8th in the table at the moment. I know there's Premier League games tomorrow night that will be coming up, so we'll have to wait and see. But it's looking good. And as well, on Saturday, we've got a tough game against Stoke. If we can beat Stoke, which is one of the teams who are currently, I think, above us or around us, I think it would really give us some optimism, not only to push us up in the league, but also in terms of the game against PSG and the game against Everton the following weekend. So definitely, guys, it's a win. And you know what I mean? Even though it was frustrating, that second half, a win is a win. The scoreline reads Norwich 1, Chelsea 2. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Tell me your thoughts on the match and also everything I've said in the comments below, and I'll see you again. Hello there, guys. What is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video. It's time for my Q&A. Thank you guys for all of your questions that you submitted in the comments to that video that I left last week. Apologies to those that I couldn't read out, but right here, let's get straight into it.